Selection is power. You don't lose people by being too cold. You lose power by choosing badly. And if you're honest with yourself, this pattern didn't start with them. It started with you. You didn't find the wrong people. You selected them. That sentence should sting, because most people want to believe connection is fate, luck, timing, chemistry. That belief keeps you weak. Machiavelli understood something modern people refuse to accept. Life is not a romance. It is a power environment. And in power environments, selection is survival. You didn't get betrayed because you trusted too much. You got betrayed because you ignored signals you didn't want to see. People don't reveal who they are later. They reveal it early. You just explain it away. Look at your history. You gave access before observation, loyalty before testing, emotion before structure. That is not kindness. That is poor strategy. Machiavelli never spoke about soulmates. He spoke about allies. Why? Because allies are chosen based on function, not fantasy. The modern mind hates this. It wants love to be unconditional, friendship to be effortless, connection to be free. But anything that requires no standards attracts opportunists. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Parasites don't attack strength. They attach to openness without boundaries. Think about the people who drained you. They entered fast. They bonded quickly. They mirrored you intensely. That wasn't destiny. That was extraction strategy. Intensity without friction is manipulation. Real alignment takes time, pressure, silence. If someone rushes intimacy, trust, or emotional access, they're not aligning. They're bypassing your filter. Machiavelli warned princes not to confuse friendliness with loyalty. Why? Because friendliness is cheap. Loyalty is expensive. The problem is not that you wanted connection. The problem is that you wanted it before earning evidence. Selection is power because every person in your circle influences your emotional baseline, shapes how others perceive you, affects your decision-making under stress. Your inner circle becomes your nervous system. And if that system is weak, reactive, or chaotic, your life will reflect it. This is where most people fail. They choose based on how someone makes them feel, not how someone behaves under pressure. But feelings are volatile. Behavior is predictive. Anyone can feel good when things are easy. Watch who stays steady when things aren't. From this point forward, understand this. If someone is meant for you, they don't enter your life as noise. They enter as structure, calm, grounded, unimpressed by your mask. In the next part, I'll show you the first real sign. It's subtle, it's uncomfortable, and most people fail it because their ego gets in the way. Sai kinwe asguai, I who run fodwast for miles with you, when they do not respect you. Let that settle. Your ego wants admiration. Your power needs resistance. Flattery feels like safety. But it's actually surveillance. Machiavelli's waxth correct. But it's actually surveillance. Machiavelli warned that flattery is the most dangerous social poison because it bypasses logic and feeds vanity. The person who praises you excessively is not loyal to you. They are loyal to access. They agree because disagreement might cost them position. Agreement is cheap. Truth is expensive. Watch how people speak to you. Do they challenge your bad ideas, or do they polish them? Do they question your emotional reactions, or do they validate them to keep peace? Here's the difference. An enemy contradicts you publicly to lower your status. A true ally challenges you privately to raise your standard. That distinction matters. The person meant for you does not worship you. They don't inflate you. They refine you. That refinement feels uncomfortable because it threatens your self-image. But Machiavellian alignment isn't about feeling good. It's about becoming dangerous in the right direction. Anyone can clap for you. Few are willing to stop you from embarrassing yourself. Think about the last time you were wrong. Who told you the truth without aggression? Who didn't soften it with flattery? Who didn't fear your reaction? That person wasn't attacking you, they were investing in you. Flatterers fear your disapproval. Allies fear your decline. Big difference. In relationships, this shows up clearly. The wrong person says, "You're perfect the way you are." The right person says, you're wasting your potential. One feeds comfort, the other builds legacy. In work environments, same rule. The colleague who never challenges you is not supportive. They are positioning themselves beneath you, and beneath you is where resentment grows. People who kneel today often bite tomorrow. If someone is meant for you, they don't need your approval to survive. They don't orbit you. They stand beside you, equal footing, eye level, and because of that, they can tell you the truth. If everyone around you agrees with you, you are not powerful. You are isolated inside your own echo chamber, and that is how leaders fall. In the next part, we go deeper. Because truth alone isn't enough. The next sign reveals who can handle who you really are, when the mask comes off. And most people fail here. Perfect. Stay focused. This part filters 90% of people out of your life. Side gene to shadow tolerance. Most people don't want you. They want the version of you that makes their life easier. Your competence, your humor, your emotional labor, your stability. That's the mask. Machiavelli understood this long before psychology named it. People love what they can use, not what they must face. Here's the truth no one prepares you for. The moment you stop performing, most people get uncomfortable. Because your mask served them. Love that depends on performance is not love. It's a transaction. Everyone has a shadow. Impatience, ruthlessness, cold logic, moral ambiguity, ambition that makes others nervous. Most people suppress it to stay acceptable, but suppression leaks. It shows up as passive aggression, resentment, self-sabotage. The person meant for you does not panic when your shadow appears. They don't moralize it. They don't try to fix you. They don't threaten abandonment. They acknowledge it calmly. Why? Because they have met their own. People who deny their shadow fear yours. Watch what happens when you say no without explaining, prioritize yourself without apology, make a decision others don't like, show controlled anger instead of niceness. Most people interpret this as danger. They accuse you of changing, becoming cold, losing yourself. What they mean is, you stopped serving me. That's the separation moment. Machiavelli wrote that men are quicker to forgive injury than loss of advantage. Your shadow removes advantage. That's why it reveals truth. The person meant for you doesn't flinch when you drop warmth. They don't test you. They don't provoke you back into performance. They remain steady. Because they understand something crucial. A person with a shadow is a person with boundaries. And boundaries are not threats. They are structure. Chaos fears structure. Structure attracts respect. Here's a subtle test. Be silent when you're expected to reassure. Be firm where you used to be flexible. Be neutral where you used to over-explain. Observe. The wrong people escalate emotionally. They dramatize. They weaponize guilt. Why? Because your shadow broke their script. The right person adjusts. They don't need constant emotional confirmation. They don't need you to be soft to feel safe. They are comfortable in the presence of strength. And strength is not loud. It's composed. Machiavelli respected men who could be both feared and loved, but understood that fear rooted in consistency, not volatility. Your shadow, when integrated, creates consistency. Not cruelty, not aggression. Clarity. If someone only accepts your light, they will betray you when darkness arrives. This applies to friendship, to romance, to business. The ally who can't tolerate your edge will leak information. The partner who fears your ambition will sabotage it. The friend who needs you small will resent you growing. Shadow intolerance always precedes betrayal. Always. If someone is meant for you, they don't ask you to amputate parts of yourself. They don't confuse dominance with abuse. They don't confuse boundaries with punishment. They see the full picture and stay. In the next part, we move into something even rarer, not emotion, not honesty, synchronization, because real alignment happens before words, and once you understand it, you'll never over-explain yourself again. Good. This is where most people lose their power without realizing it. Sign 3, silent synchronization. The moment you feel the need to explain yourself, power has already shifted. Machiavelli didn't believe in constant justification. He believed in clarity of position. Words are not where alignment is tested. They're where misalignment is exposed. People who understand you don't need explanations. People who demand them are already resisting you. Watch this carefully. When you pause before responding, when you let silence sit, when you don't rush to fill space, some people become uncomfortable. They fidget, they talk more, they push for reassurance. Why? Because silence removes their leverage. Silence forces them to reveal themselves. The person meant for you does not compete with silence. They don't interrogate it. They read it. They understand pace. This is silent synchronization. It's when two people adjust without negotiation. No arguing. No explaining. No emotional bargaining. Just mutual calibration. Alignment isn't loud. It's efficient. Think about moments of tension. You slow down, they slow down. You withdraw attention. They don't chase, they stabilize. You change direction. They adapt without resistance. That's not submission. That's awareness. Most people mistake over communication for intimacy. It's not. It's compensation for misalignment. Machiavelli knew that leaders who speak too much reveal too much. Every explanation leaks data, your fears, your justifications, your inner conflicts. The wrong people collect this information. They store it. They weaponize it later. If someone needs access to your reasoning to respect your decision, they don't respect your authority. The right person doesn't need your internal map. They trust the direction. This is especially visible in conflict. The wrong person argues the process. The right person focuses on the outcome. The wrong person needs emotional closure. The right person needs structural clarity. Silence, used correctly, is not avoidance. It's compression. It communicates. I am grounded. I don't need to convince you. People who belong in your life respond to this by settling. People who don't respond by escalating. That reaction is diagnostic. Escalation is resistance. Resistance reveals misalignment. Here's a simple test. Stop over-explaining for 1 week. No long justifications. No emotional essays. No preemptive apologies. State decisions calmly. Observe who respects it. Those who synchronize with your pace are operating on the same internal frequency. Those who demand constant clarification are trying to pull you back into their frame. Machiavelli warned that whoever controls the frame controls the relationship. Silent synchronization means no one needs to fight for it. It emerges naturally. The person meant for you doesn't need to win conversations. They don't need to be right. They need the system to function. And so do you. In the next part, we move from words to something deeper. Your body already knows it. Energy, who drains it, who multiplies it, and why your nervous system is a better judge than your emotions. Now we get into the part your mind lies about, but your body never does. Side 4: Energy Economics. Forget what people say. Watch what happens to your energy after you're with them. Machiavelli didn't talk about vibes, but he understood cost. Every alliance has a price, and your nervous system keeps the ledger. Your body detects enemies before your intellect does. There are only 2 types of people in your life: those who consume energy, those who generate it. This has nothing to do with kindness, or trauma, or intention. It has everything to do with regulation. The wrong people feel chaotic even when they're pleasant. After interaction, you feel drained, foggy, irritable, tense, needing isolation to recover. You'll rationalize it. They didn't mean it. They're just stressed. They've been through a lot. Machiavelli would call that self-betrayal. Intent does not cancel impact. The right person leaves your system clearer, not euphoric, not overstimulated. Clear, you think better, decide faster, breathe deeper. Why? Because they don't require you to regulate for them. They manage their own emotional state. That's rare. Most people outsource regulation. They vent. They dramatize. They seek reassurance. They provoke reactions to feel alive. Drama is not emotion, it's addiction. People addicted to chaos are drawn to stability, to drain it. This is why stable individuals attract unstable ones. Your calm becomes their resource. But resources get exploited, and once depleted, discarded. Machiavelli warned that those who benefit most from you will resent you when you stop supplying. Watch energy patterns during stress. When something goes wrong, do they collapse, blame, spiral, or do they compress? Focus, stabilize. The person meant for you does not add noise under pressure. They reduce it. They become quieter, more precise, more contained. That containment protects both of you. True allies don't amplify crisis. They absorb it. Pay attention to recovery time. After seeing some people, you need hours, sometimes days, to feel normal again. That's not introversion. That's exposure. Your system is telling you something your emotions are ignoring. Machiavelli trusted patterns over promises. Energy is a pattern, and it never lies. Here's a ruthless but necessary rule. If someone consistently drains you, they are not meant for your future, no matter how long they've been in your past. History is not entitlement. Longevity does not equal alignment. The right people don't exhaust you with closeness. They make closeness sustainable. In the next part, we expose something even more revealing. Not when you're strong, but when you're weak. Because loyalty is not proven in your victories, it's proven in your vulnerability. This part is where false allies disappear. Pay attention. Sign 5: strategic loyalty. Most people misunderstand loyalty. They think it's about affection, history, shared memories. Machiavelli knew better. Loyalty is revealed under risk. Anyone can support you when you're strong. When you're winning, when associating with you raises their status. That's convenience, not allegiance. People don't betray you when you're powerful. They betray you when you're exposed. Watch carefully what happens when you lose momentum. You make a mistake. You're publicly criticized. You can no longer offer advantage. The wrong people distance themselves quietly. They don't attack you directly. They understand both sides. They go neutral. Neutrality in moments of attack is not maturity, it's positioning. Machiavelli warned that neutrality benefits the aggressor, because silence protects whoever is winning. The person meant for you does something different. They defend you publicly and correct you privately. That order matters. Public defense preserves your status. Private correction preserves your growth. Reverse it and trust collapses. Anyone who criticizes you publicly is auditioning for a higher position. Pay attention to gossip. Gossip is not conversation. It's a loyalty leak. If someone brings you information about others, they are rehearsing how they'll speak about you. Machiavelli understood that words travel faster than weapons, and they do more damage. The right person doesn't entertain rumors. They don't feed speculation. They shut it down, even when it costs social comfort. That cost is the proof. Loyalty is expensive. If it costs nothing, it's worthless. Anyone who protects their image over your integrity has already chosen themselves. Another test: shared risk. Do they only support safe decisions? Or do they stand with you when outcomes are uncertain? The wrong people encourage you when there's no downside. The right people stand with you when the outcome could hurt both of you. Shared risk creates binding. Shared comfort creates nothing. Machiavelli valued alliances forged in uncertainty because fear exposes true priorities. When pressure rises, masks fall. Watch micro behaviors. Who stops checking in? Who reduces contact? Who subtly aligns with opposing opinions? Withdrawal is a signal. So is overcautious language. The person meant for you doesn't disappear when you wobble. They don't need guarantees. They need alignment. People loyal to outcomes will abandon you when outcomes change. Real loyalty is identity-based. I stand with you, not I stand with success. That distinction defines destinies. In the next part, we address something dangerous: ambition, because nothing reveals sabotage faster than watching how people react when you grow. This is the part that ends friendships, exposes partners, and terrifies insecure people. Stay sharp. Sign 6: ambition pressure. Most people say they want you to succeed. What they mean is, don't succeed past me. Machiavelli understood that ambition is not dangerous by itself. unshared ambition is, because growth shifts hierarchy, and hierarchy is what people actually protect. People don't fear your failure. They fear your independence. Watch what happens when you raise your standards, work harder, think bigger, detach from approval, move differently. The wrong people become uncomfortable. Not openly hostile, that would expose them. Instead, they apply pressure. Subtle, strategic. They joke about your goals, call you changed, remind you to stay humble, warn you that you're doing too much. This is not concern, it's containment. Machiavelli knew that mediocrity is socially protected because it keeps the hierarchy stable. Anyone who threatens that stability becomes a target. Society rewards sameness and punishes deviation disguised as arrogance. The person meant for you does the opposite. Your ambition doesn't intimidate them, it clarifies them. They don't rush to catch up. They don't compete. They don't sabotage. They fortify themselves. They rise in parallel, or they step aside with dignity. No resentment, no guilt, no dragging you back. That's rare and unmistakable. Pay attention to timing. Do they discourage you right before action? Right before risk? Right before visibility? That's not coincidence. That's fear leaking through advice. Advice that shrinks you is not wisdom. It's insecurity with a voice. Another tells celebration behavior. When you win, do their expressions lag? Do they downplay it? Do they shift the topic? Micro responses reveal macro truths. Machiavelli trusted reaction over rhetoric because the body reacts before the mind edits. The right person celebrates without comparison. No must be nice. No score-keeping. No silent resentment. They don't need to reduce your win to protect their self-image. That's internal security. Ambition exposes those who benefited from you staying the same. Your growth removes their advantage, so they resist. The person meant for you was never feeding on your stagnation. They were preparing for your ascent. Anyone who needs you small will punish you for growing. Here's the rule. If someone supports your ambition only when it's theoretical, but resists when it becomes real, they are not meant for your future. Dreams are safe. Execution is threatening. Machiavelli aligned himself with those who could handle expansion, because expansion requires allies who don't panic when territory increases. In the next part, we sharpen the blade further. Jealousy. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind. The kind that smiles at you while waiting for you to slip. Good. This is where most people finally see the truth and wish they hadn't. Sign 7, the absence of jealousy. Jealousy is not loud. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It smiles. It congratulates you. It claps, slightly late. Machiavelli understood this better than most. Envy is the most polite emotion in the room. Hatred attacks you. Jealousy waits for you to fall. You don't detect jealousy by words. You detect it by timing and tone. Watch their eyes when you succeed, not the smile, the eyes. Do they light up instantly? Or do they dim for half a second before recovering? That half second matters. That's the truth leaking out before social conditioning corrects it. Most people don't want you to fail completely. They just don't want you to outgrow them. That's a critical distinction. They're fine as long as you stay within range, as long as the hierarchy remains intact. The moment you rise above it, their identity shakes. Your success forces people to confront their excuses. That's why jealousy feels so personal. It isn't about you. It's about what your existence proves. The person meant for you experiences something different. Compersion, a rare psychological response. It means they feel genuine pleasure from your win because your rise does not threaten their value. They don't compare. They don't minimize. They don't compete. They lean in. They ask questions. They want details. They absorb momentum. Why? Because they see your success as shared territory, not stolen ground. Machiavelli favored allies who expanded power without internal friction. Internal envy destroys empires faster than external enemies. That's why he warned against keeping jealous men close. They don't revolt immediately. They sabotage slowly. Jealousy is betrayal in rehearsal. Another test, opportunity sharing. Do they introduce you to rooms that elevate you? Or do they gatekeep? Do they hoard information, delay connections? Forget to mention chances. That's envy in action. The right person amplifies you. They don't fear losing relevance. They know relevance is renewable. Secure people don't guard the spotlight. They widen it. Jealous people keep mental score. They remember favors. They track imbalance. They resent quietly. The person meant for you doesn't count because they don't feel depleted by your presence. They don't experience you as competition. They experience you as reinforcement. When someone celebrates your rise without subtracting themselves, you found alignment. Now listen carefully. If you feel the need to dim yourself, soften achievements, or stay quiet to preserve harmony, you are not in safe territory. You are managing egos. And managing egos is submission disguised as kindness. Machiavelli would call this strategic weakness. Power cannot grow where it must apologize for existing. The right person never asks you to shrink. They adjust themselves, or they let you pass. No guilt, no drama, just respect. In the next part, we close the ledger. Effort, initiation, reciprocity, because imbalance reveals intention faster than words ever could. This is where excuses collapse. No philosophy, no romance, just arithmetic. Sign 8, reciprocity without negotiation. Every relationship runs on exchange. Time, attention, effort, energy. Machiavelli never believed in unconditional adult loyalty. Neither should you. If something costs you consistently and pays you rarely, it is not connection, it is extraction. Watch who initiates, who texts first, who plans, who repairs tension, who reaches out after silence. With the wrong people, it's always you. You explain, you clarify, you chase closure, you soften conflict. And if you stop, nothing, silence. That silence is the truth you are avoiding. Because effort reveals priority. The person meant for you does not need reminders to show up. They don't disappear to create leverage. They don't withhold to test your desire. They don't play attention games. That behavior signals insecurity, not value. Consistency is not boring. It's dominance without noise. Balanced reciprocity doesn't mean symmetry every day. Life fluctuates. Some weeks you carry more. Some weeks they do. But the ledger self-corrects. You don't keep score. Because the system is fair. The moment you feel resentment building, something is off. Resentment is unpaid labor, and unpaid labor turns into contempt. Machiavelli warned against being despised. Nothing breeds contempt faster than being taken for granted. The right person respects your time instinctively. They don't delay responses to appear important. They don't ghost under the excuse of being busy. Busy is a choice. Attention is allocated. People make time for what they fear losing. Another indicator, repair behavior. After conflict, do they move toward resolution? Or do they retreat and let you fix it? Avoidance is power hoarding. The person meant for you understands that unresolved tension weakens the unit. They don't need to win arguments. They need the structure intact. This is strategic maturity. Reciprocity also shows an emotional load. Do you carry their moods, their anxieties, their instability? Or do they regulate themselves? A partner who cannot manage their emotions will outsource the task to you. That's not intimacy. That's dependency. Machiavelli valued self-contained allies, not emotional liabilities. If you're always stabilizing them, you're not partnering, you're parenting. Now the hardest test, stop initiating. Not as punishment, as data collection. If the bond collapses, it was never mutual. It was sustained by your effort alone. That truth hurts. But clarity is power. The person meant for you notices absence. They don't punish it. They respond to it because they value equilibrium. They don't want advantage. They want alignment. In the final part, we reverse the lens because spotting the right person is useless. If you are not built to keep them, the last section is not about them. It's about you. And it's uncomfortable. This is where the mirror turns. No more analysis of them. Only the truth about you. The final law, become the alliance. If the person meant for you walked into your life today, would they stay? not feel inspired, not feel curious. Stay. Machiavelli never chased loyalty. He attracted it through strength, stability, and utility. High-value people do not search loudly. They filter silently. You've learned how to detect alignment, but alignment is mutual. The people you want are not scanning for desperation. They're scanning for composure, for emotional control, for self-command. For someone who doesn't flinch under pressure, ask yourself honestly, do you over-explain, react quickly when challenged, or seek reassurance through words instead of presence? Those are not flaws. They are signals. Signals that say, I need approval. And need kills attraction. Need kills respect. Need destroys leverage. Machiavelli warned that men lose power the moment they appear dependent. The same rule applies in relationships. Attachment without self-mastery turns connection into captivity. To keep the right person, you must be regulated. Dange power in vision will resurgent, measured when provoked. Silent, when silence carries more weight than speech. Power is not volume. It is restraint. Your posture speaks before your mouth does. Shoulders relaxed. Breath slow. Eyes steady. These are not aesthetics. They are dominance cues. People trust those who appear unshaken. They follow those who do not chase. You also need a mission that exists without them. Not as a threat, as a foundation. Two people staring at each other will eventually rot. Two people facing forward will walk together indefinitely. Machiavelli understood this. Alliances fail when they lack purpose. Love without direction becomes noise. If you want to bind a high-value ally to you, become irreplaceable. Not by being nice, by being necessary. Necessary to their clarity. Necessary to their growth. Necessary to their stability. Not because you trap them. Because life works better with you in it. That's real power. Maintain the edge. Never become furniture. Keep evolving. Keep options. Keep momentum. Not to threaten, to remain respected. Certainty breeds complacency. Value thrives in motion. Machiavelli said it is better to be feared than loved. But in modern terms, it is better to be respected than assumed. When loss is possible, presence is appreciated. Now hear this clearly. If you feel alone right now, how that is not failure. That is preparation. Solitude sharpens perception. Weak people avoid it. Strong people use it. Build yourself until your presence feels expensive. Until your silence is felt. Until the wrong people disqualify themselves automatically. Then alignment stops being rare. Because you've become selective, not hopeful. The person meant for you will not arrive as rescue. They will arrive as reinforcement. They won't complete you. They'll stand beside you without collapsing. And when that happens, you won't need signs. You'll feel the absence of friction, the absence of anxiety, the absence of performance. You won't feel loud. You won't feel desperate. You won't feel reactive. You'll feel unshaken. And that's how you'll know. If this sharpens your perception, you already know what to do. Subscribe. Share it with someone who's still choosing wrong. You are not loud. You are not chaotic. You are not desperate. You are dangerously calm. And the right ones will recognize you instantly.